How do I know if my Dynamics GP users have the appropriate segregation of duties? Creating an environment with proper user security and where controls are built into the creation, flow, and posting of data is becoming more and more important and harder to accomplish. You may have been on the receiving end of a team of auditors, either internal or external, who administer those uncomfortable application and IT reviews and audits each quarter, or if you're lucky, only once a year. In this segment, we'll discuss a number of ways to analyze, report on, and monitor access for users in your Dynamics GP application. The idea is to assign each user one or more roles, each of which will grant them access to a range of possible activities within the Dynamics GP application. Segregating inline activities across different users not only helps ensure fraud doesn't occur, but ensures the integrity of the data in the system by limiting access to only the right users. For example, within the sales area, it would not be advisable to allow one person to have full access to everything from creating and maintaining customer records, to entering and fulfilling sales orders, to invoicing and cash receipts entry, to the month-end bank reconciliation process. Mitigating factors can be introduced that help overcome some concerns with access to and changes in information. The most basic option in GP would be the batch level posting approvals option, which requires the insertion of a password prior to the batch being able to post. The more modern, elegant, and auditable approach would be the utilization of a workflow feature to apply appropriate controls or toll gates to the creation of records or posting of transactions. Dynamics GP does not have a native segregation of duties or SOD feature or function, but it does rely on users, roles, and company access to accomplish the appropriate level of security. You can look up each user, company, and role combination to start, but there's so much more to it. The standard reports are not the only way to ensure you have configured a good security layout in Dynamics GP, but in paper format, they're really helpful, they're text-based reports, and they give you what you need. But because of the sheer volume of possibilities, the reports are often quite lengthy. They frequently run in the hundreds or even thousands of pages. But we can look at SmartList, can't we? Unfortunately, Dynamics GP does not have a security-related smart list out of the box. Sure didn't make this easy, but we can certainly help. The idea I want to share with you today is how you can use Microsoft Power BI to quickly identify if your system, company, users, and roles are configured in a way that puts appropriate safeguards on the creation and flow of data through the system. How do I know if my Dynamics GP users have appropriate segregation of duties? The GP Security Analyzer uses a visual approach to confirming segregation of duties across 7 functional areas, including payables, purchasing, receivables, sales order processing, inventory, bank reconciliation, and the general ledger. Let's begin by starting on the Purchase Order Processing dashboard. Looking at these from the top down, the left-hand side describes an access area where any workflow or posting batch approvals could serve as mitigating factors or an enhancement to the segregation of duties. In the body area, again going top down, green means good. Access to that window is granted, or the mitigating function has been set up and is active. Each of the segregation of duties pages starts with the module setups, which is where a lot of the system behavior and module configurations are made. These should clearly be limited to administrative users only. Each module has its own setup options, and the dashboards are tailored accordingly. Next stop in the segregation of duties dashboard are the master records, followed by any potential workflow represented in light blue. Note here, there is an available vendor approval workflow, but there is no customer approval workflow in Dynamics GP, so this cannot be used as a mitigating factor in that specific segregation of duties analysis, but at least you are visually aware of that in the report. The transaction entry windows of various types can be seen next, again based on the respective module. If there are any workflow, batch, or transaction approvals configured, or if the company posting rules are set up to require batch approvals with a password, they will be displayed next. After posting the initial transactions in batches, the settlement windows are displayed. Settlements typically happen by means of payment, or collection, or reconciliation. If a module offers any void or correction functionality, it will appear last on each of the SOD pages. Let's start with the user slicer on the right. We're going to clear all with the eraser. And then only selecting a specific user, in this case, Jack, the dashboard will activate and filter to only the windows permissioned to that user. Voila! Now you can see if that user can do all or some of the activities within a module. Now let's try another user. Let's try the purchasing manager. I tied this user to a role ID with the same name, as you see up at the top. And that role is configured in such a manner as you can see here with this segregation of duties window. Do notice that the purchasing manager can maintain vendors and addresses. They can enter purchase orders and receipts. Workflow is active, but they can't make any payments or void any transactions. Now that you know you can actually see segregation of duties in Dynamics GP using Power BI, let's pop over to the financial dashboard. This time, let's use a security role in this analysis instead of a user. We'll clear the roles slicer in the top right and select Bookkeeper. Notice the changes. Green means good. Access has been granted to those windows. Additionally, the tasks at the bottom expose more information, and it too has a slicer properties. Clicking on a specific task can confirm which one grants access to specific windows. GP security does not have to be hard or expensive to understand, analyze, or report on. I hope this segment was helpful and informative. We'd love to hear from you. If you are interested in learning more about the GP Security Analyzer, please visit our website at GraVoc.com, Power BI Solutions. Thank you for your interest in watching today. If you know of anyone who would benefit from knowing about this solution, please forward the link and spread the word. In closing, we hope we get to speak with you, or perhaps work together soon on getting your GP security under control.